Just yesterday, we told you about the progress of the Tigers and how they are without a coach. Now, let's also go into the final phase at this time, or talk about the preparations. The Tigers are preparing for the FIBA Women's World Cup. They are currently in Europe, panning out, dotting their I's and crossing their T's, but without the presence of coach Rena Wakama, and yet to join the squad. Now, Wakama has remained in the United States because of her coaching commitments with WNBA franchise Chicago Sky, where she serves as an assistant coach. Now, she's expected to link up with the Tigers before the World Cup begins in Germany on the 4th of September. Her absence comes at a crucial stage, with Nigeria moving to Zaragoza for their final preparation games against Mali and Puerto Rico. While Wakama's delayed arrival may raise concerns, it does maybe not necessarily threaten Nigeria's chances, but of course we have an expert who will be looking at this issue with us. Kenny Bamidele joins us tonight. Kenny, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you so much for having me today.
All right, Kenny, when you look at a sheep, you expect to see a shepherd. We've also seen how much a coach does, or when it comes to the team. And for Coach Rena Wakama, she has been an integral part of the Tigers in the last few years. What do you make of her absence? How much of a blow will it be? Of course, we've been seeing results from the friendlies, and it has not been going like the way we expect in terms of the scoreline.
Honestly, the team has really missed the presence of Coach Rena Wakama. I can assure you that, because as much as we can say that we don't have a complete team, we didn't see a complete team play against Belgium and Spain. The absence of Rena Wakama is actually been felt, and I think this has actually debunked, past claims that whoever coaches the Tigers that.
Please go on.
It has debunked past claims that whoever coaches would actually succeed. People feel like the Tigers is so much talented that anybody can go there and take charge. But this has, proven that narrative wrong. So I can assure you that the team, they are meeting Coach Rena Wakama with the way they are playing. Because if Coach Rena was there, I know what she would have told the girls during halftime of the game against Belgium and Spain. It's not that we did not play well. We're highly competitive, but it was only for a while. First half of the game against Spain, we were leading. First half of the game against Belgium, it was just a 4 or 5 point gap. Before second half, everything just went AWOL. So, yes, they are missing Coach Rena, and I'm sure the girls can't wait to have Rena back.
All right. The NBBF, they already know that Coach Rena Wakama has a job, or after being a coach of the Nigerian side, she got a job in the US to also coach Aradati. There's been talks about maybe we're not paying her enough to be able to reject, jobs like that in the US. How true is this? Do you think that there's a contract that gives her something that, or what's the contract like? Does it allow her to still manage this too? And then, because this is the national team and we're at the crucial stage, and it also kind of happened with Coach Randy Waldrum with the Super Falcons at some point in time. So what's this situation like? And, in terms of our contract?
Yeah, so it's basically someone who doesn't appreciate progress that would say that Rena shouldn't be with Chicago Sky. Rena, before she became the coach of the Tigers, she had no major experience, and after we did the AfroBasket, that was when the surge started. Now, at that point, she got different jobs, and the Chicago Sky job, her stand job, is also one of the top that she's gotten in recent times. So it is not the fault of NBBF, it is not the fault of the Tigers, it's not the fault of Chicago Sky, it's the fault of the scheduling conflict. That is the case right now. You know that the WNBA season runs until late August through September, right there, and that is the only reason why Rena has not been with the team. It is due to the scheduling and all. So I spoke with someone close to the team yesterday and asked when will Rena join the team. I was told soon. The date wasn't confirmed to me, but best believe that she's going to join in time before the 4th of September when the FIBA World Cup will actually kickstart. And Coach Wani Muganguzi must have been giving Rena updates on whatever has been happening in camp, players' development, because Coach Wani has always been the one beside Rena Wakama in past competitions with the Tigers of Nigeria. So I really hope that these will not affect the readiness, because in a situation where your main coach is not with you for some time and then she comes, I don't know if Coach Wani is continuing from where Rena stopped at the last qualifying window, the FIBA World Cup qualifying window, the inconsequential one that Nigeria participated in. I don't know if he's continuing from there or he's bringing up his own tactics, but I want to see how the team kicks out their campaign against South Korea on the 4th of September, even though they've got 2 more friendly games to go before they head to Berlin.
Okay, Tony?
Yeah, well, mine is just a little bit of a worry with the momentum that we're building towards the World Cup. It's not good to, play and get ready for the World Cup, a tournament as big as the World Cup, losing games the way we're losing games. There are positives that we can pick out from the competitive nature of our games in the early part, but then a lot to worry about how we go on. And I think it says a lot more about the staying power, the stamina of the girls. They can't keep that momentum up till the end. And I think these are areas that Coach Wakama should also be worried about. How do you start a game so competitive, and then towards the end you are, you flatten out, and then the crucial moment of the game when you're supposed to really come on, that's when it looks like you are fading away. So I think that's something that the coach should look into. But I agree with you absolutely. If I were in Wakama's shoes, I would do exactly what she's doing. I mean, came into Nigeria with little or no experience and turned our team into a winning machine, and then opened up opportunities for ourselves, and then is in the US, where there's the biggest basketball, market ever, and you say no to it? No, but provided she can, combine both jobs. And you and I know that she may not be getting something as good as Chicago Sky will be offering from the NBBF, considering all that is going on around it. So we can only hope that the girls can maintain that, tweak that staying power, and be able to finish strong in games. So with that in mind, what do you think will be an objective, preview or expectation at the World Cup from the first game against Korea on the 4th?
Yeah, so with the first 2 games we saw against Belgium, there was Victoria Macaulay, there was Nicola Nabosi, but she didn't start the game. There was Mojana Musa, there was Promise Amukamara. Now, I'm going to mention 2 players that actually stood out in those 2 friendly games. Mojana Musa, despite how bad the team were in the second half of the game, Musa was really tough. And Victoria Macaulay, see, when you're an elite basketball player, the difference would be very clear. And each time Victoria Macaulay holds the ball, each time she pulls up to shoot the ball, you just know that this player, she's special. So I think these 2 players have, despite the huge loss to Spain and Belgium, they stood out, and they would be key to whatever Rena will be doing or the team will be doing ahead of the Women's World Cup. Now, in terms of my assessment of the training so far, I'm far from impressed. You don't head to a World Cup with, terrible defending. You can't even make your shot. Open looks, you keep on missing them. Free throws, you squander them. Okay, you can miss 3 points. But free throws, you don't want to mess with that, because that can even, decide how a game ends. So I think that needs to be worked on. I want to see how they're going to approach the next 2 games against Mali and Puerto Rico. And hopefully by then, we should have Ezine Kalu and Emi Okonkwo back for one of these 2 games. If they are back, then we have the complete starting 5 back. And then maybe Oluchi Okanawa would be available. I'm not so sure yet. Again, until the final roster is out, I don't want to begin to mention names and all of that. But trust me, it's down to the coach to decide that, even though there are some players that I feel shouldn't be at the World Cup. Nicola Nabosi, in those 2 games, far from impressed from what she did. I don't think she deserves to be at this year's World Cup. For Shea Ijiwoye, she's young. I think I love her energy, but this tournament is not meant for her. Maybe the next World Cup, she would be ever ready for that particular one. But the 2 players I mentioned, Victoria Macaulay and Jana Musa, definitely, they're going to be flying to Berlin.
All right, Kenny, I'll still keep you in this conversation because, of course, we're still talking basketball next. And this time around, the Nigeria Premier Basketball League Final 8, we hear that River Supers have been on a signing spree. And this time around, they have also strengthened their roster ahead of the 2026 Nigeria Premier Basketball League playoffs with the signing of 7-foot center Nikolaus Okekwonye The 29-year-old joins the Port Harcourt-based side after an impressive 2025-26 campaign with Digenis Ariktas Mofu in Cyprus Division A, where he averaged 13.7 points, 10.2 rebounds, and 1.2 assists in 11 games. Born in Athens to Nigerian parents, Okekunwoye developed his game in Greece and at the Spy Institute in the United States before entering the NBA in 2020 draft. He brings 6 seasons of professional experience across Europe. Kenny, Rivers Hoopers lost the title last season, and they are looking like they want to correct the wrongs of what has happened. They have 2 signings so far, a Tunisian, and now we have the 7-foot player. You think this is the time for them? Do you think they can go all the way? There's Marktown Flyers, there are other teams in the playoffs. What should we be expecting for Rivers Hoopers?
I admire the Rivers Hoopers, how they do their business. They don't drag with other teams. They just come out of the blues. They sign this, they sign that. This is a team that, they have a really good administrators, and of course, big ups to the team of Rivers Hoopers. Now, Nicholas has got the size, rim protector. He's definitely going to do that for them. Now, for Mo Abada, he's the veteran point guard, Tunisia, 33 years. He's played for Al Ahly. He's played for Club Africain. He's played for Fous Rabat. In the French league, he's played for Saint-Chamond. This is someone who is highly talented. He brings that to that team. And do not forget, they've also got some really good players playing in the Nigerian Basketball League. I think Rivers Hoopers are not happy with the fact that they did not qualify for the last BAL. Rivers Hoopers sees BAL as their birthright, that they have to be there at all costs. And honestly, each time Rivers Hoopers qualifies for the BAL, you know how to represent Nigeria. They always do well. And that is the reason why it's going to be nice to have a team like that qualify. I'm not trying to play aside or downplay other team preparations. Trust me, Boko City Chiefs, Kano Pillars, Asos Kai Orcs have also been, getting players signed, all of that. But in terms of quality, I think the Kingsmen, they might actually get the ticket again to BAL.